And a lot of times, because many of us want simplicity, we want to do what we want to do within the confines of how we want to do it. And that is the most that we're willing to do. So I've heard this on many occasions that it's just like, I am upset with what minimum wage is. I'm upset with the government and how it's dealing with finances and dealing with, and again, I'm not a fan of leaving elected officials to make decisions for me. Never been a fan of it. I don't care who the president is, I will eat. I don't care who the governor is, I will eat.
Period.
With that being said, though, when I hear people make the excuses about why they feel that they should make more money to do certain things, it's never I'm pushing to move up, I'm pushing to innovate, I'm pushing to add something new to the mix. It's, I want to do the bare minimum and I want to reap the maximum benefit by doing the bare minimum.
Welcome to America.
I mean, that's what I hear a lot. It's just like, well, why can't I make $100,000 to work in a fast food restaurant? Because you'll be the only one there. You're the manager, you're the cook, you're the drive-through window guy, you're everybody. You got to do the whole thing, be like that guy for Great Adventures of Gumball.
Yeah.
You do everything, because the demand for this thing that you're doing, if I can train somebody to do what you do in a day, you're not that valuable.
Yeah, like somebody that's never done this, fresh off the street, I can have them trained in 15 minutes. That's not that valuable of a job.
All you have to do is just follow this recipe for the double cheeseburger. It's going to be a splash this, pickle, onion, burger, cheese, wrap, send out. There's a timer on it. It's going to put it down per single cheeseburger. For the quarter pounder, it's going to be this timer. Push the timer as soon as it comes up. You grab them, put them inside, take the temperature gauge, check the temperature on the meat to make sure the temperature on the meat is consistent. After 15 minutes, throw it out, cook a brand new That doesn't take rocket science to do. Doesn't even take multitasking skills. It basically does itself. So a great deal of the things that a lot of us look at is, you're not the one cutting down the tree to precise increments. You're just at Lowe's selling the lumber.
Yeah.
The guy cutting down the tree and measuring the tree to make sure that it's at the precise, put it on the conveyor belts with the circular saws and everything. Why should you make the same as that person who does that? And I'm tempted to say him because I don't see many women volunteering to do that job.
Well, it's like the analogy that, and it's crazy, we literally just spoke about this in the car. It's that analogy of buying, let's say we bought a stock, okay? I put $100 into the stock. Someone else puts $5 into the stock, but on the dividend yield, they want the exact same amount of payout, but you contributed like way less than everybody, bare minimum. You contributed bare minimum, but you want the maximum payout. And we live in this society where just because I'm breathing, I should be entitled to that. I should be allowed to that. Just like Kendra G had a situation where, she just got out of surgery, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully she makes a quick recovery. But she went to the Planet Fitness. She needed to use the bathroom. She was not a member there. Bathrooms are for members only. They wouldn't let her use the bathroom. And she went berserk all on social media talking about this and they wouldn't let me and da-da-da-da-da and I'm a lady and all this and that. I don't want to get into the other side of that, but the level of entitlement for, contributions of doing not that much
For merely existing.
For merely existing is mind-boggling to me. Like, you should just be given that. You should be allowed that. You should have access to that just because you're here.
You know, I have employees that, for them, it almost appears as if just because they showed up was the work. Just because I'm here, like, be glad I came. Like, you're doing me a favor by gracing me with your presence.
Yeah.
So to actually do the job that I am holding you to, you know, being your direct supervisor, is almost like you kidding me? I'm not doing that. That's within your job description. You should be glad I showed up. Well, you can go home too. You can go home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I think that's a better idea. Why don't you go ahead and leave now? All of a sudden, you know, just the sheer fact that we don't feel like we should have to contribute a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. Yet, not only does this person who believes in the fair day's work, fair day's pay, they also had to overcompensate for what you don't do, and yet you guys receive the same money. And because of the union environment, their raises aren't based off of performance, it's based off of contractual agreed upon raises. So therefore, you get the same raise, you get the same whatever, as a team. Everything's as a team. So you can do nothing all day. And you know what happens? They'll turn around and say, hey, management, why aren't you punishing that guy? Okay. Punish that guy. Union contends, well, guess what? Susie, the one time in 20 years, took a long break, didn't do what she was supposed to do. Are you going to go get her too?
Yeah.
So now,
it's a double-edged sword.
So now, at a risk of souring a solid employee with almost remarkable record, because the one time that they did it, you have to go after them because of the person that may have as much good work as she has bad. That there was one, they showed up one day last year and they worked the whole 8 hours. The entirety of that 8 hours. And this person was exhausted, decides to take an additional time, and I got to get her same way I got to get him.
Yeah.
And that's what I think that a lot of society has gotten itself into. And I say all this as far as the culmination of the conversation. It don't just revolve around money. It revolves around the way that the world is shifting as far as this conflation of equity and equality.
Yeah.
So the thing is that equality means that everybody gets the same opportunity to do whatever that they want to do. But it's on you how the outcome goes. Equity is you have this much and you busted your butt for it. So it's somebody else's job to bring me up to where they are. Because that's what fairness is. We should all be the same. So if you worked yourself up, let's say UPS, and you had to break your back years in, and you moved up the ladder and you got your corporate spot. The idea of equity is all these men who have shown exemplary leadership ability and that have made themselves a great example of hard work and dedication and were rewarded for that.
Yeah, notable.
Because there's not enough women up there, and you need to pull her, who hasn't done a fraction of what you've done, to make it equitable at the top.
No, that's not what happened in my book.
Well, that's what But this is where a lot of the
You should be
mentality.
rewarded based off your work ethic,
But this
what
is
you put in.
But here's what I'm saying: is that this seems to be representative of the shift of how the world is changing. Is that if she is a go-getter, she's giving extra hours, she's doing everything that she's supposed to do 110% of the time, and this guy right here, he's just friends with the boss, and they both go for the promotion, and he somehow gets it over this person. It's like, what was the metric based on? Was it based on performance? Because she clearly outperforms him.
Mm-hmm.
She puts in more hours, she puts in more labor, she puts in more pain, and he just goes golfing with you once a week. So
He sold it up like that.
and did he help you through your marriage or something like that? Because that's
I don't know, man.
My point is, my point is, when I say this, is that the idea of equity and equality, they mask equity under the guise of equality. That to create this thing of fairness is only predicated when the opportunity for an outcome is there.
Okay.
Nobody's blocking you or me from becoming a billionaire.
No, but yeah, absolutely.
I have not been blocked one time from putting a single video on YouTube. Nobody said because of your skin tone, because of your nationality. Oh, you speak Spanish? Nope, can't bring that here. You write with your left hand? Can't do that here. Oh, nobody's doing that to me or anybody else that I know.
For sure.
But the people who are underperforming have the greatest excuses for underperformance. And none of it is ever, I just don't feel like it. But when you start peeling the layers back in conversation, hey, why don't you do this? You're really talented. You got this, that, and the third going for you. Why don't you just go back to school? Why don't you finish this project that you were starting on? As soon as you peel at least 3 layers off, you're gonna find that place to where they tell you what they don't want to do, and that's the reason that they don't have it. Oh, well, you know, if you want to get with a woman that's going to treat you X, Y, Z, and the third, they're going to aim their standards are higher. They don't want to just give themselves away to Joe Blow six pack because Joe Blow six pack can't provide a solid life for her.
Correct.
Oh man, well I don't want a woman I gotta be driven by money for. That's okay.
Yeah. Be lonely.
Let's not even be lonely. Don't complain about what you get for what you have.
Lackluster, mediocre. Yeah.
So when you get mediocre, don't think that you deserve this, but you put forth this much effort. Don't just sit in the club and think like, hey, she's nice looking. Why aren't they talking to me? I'm me, don't they know? Don't they know it's God, Holy Spirit, Jesus, they in me? What they don't know? No, why should I have to go buy her a drink? It's a free country. She can buy her own drink. Independent woman, right? She can buy her own drink.
Okay.
Like that's the medium of breaking down the barrier for the conversation. But I don't have to participate in that factor.
In the words of KS, buy a dog, die alone.
I like Shih Tzus personally. No, but